reign supreme, slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego, I hold more than enough of me and my.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? I'm back here with another video, and I'm just going to start this off with a little PSA. First of all, WNBA is in controversy again for the many time in a row. I feel like this league has more drama than it actually does basketball, and we are going to talk about that hopefully at the end of this video if it's not too long. I have a feeling it's going to be a long one. As you guys know, I do these in one take as well. So, let's get into it. So, before we actually start, I just want to make it very clear. I am not going to give my point of what I believe is on this scenario at all. Because I already know that's what a lot of people are probably clicking on this video for anyway. To see if I pick their side or if I pick the opposition side. I am just going to tell you right now, I'm not going to pick anything. I am going to stay neutral, and I really am going to give you guys of the information of what is happening with this league and with the situation, and why I think people need to just act like adults. Because luckily it hasn't gotten too crazy with a lot of the fan interactions. Verbally online, it has gotten nuts and crazy. I have a TikTok video that went viral, not viral, but it went biggest video I've made on TikTok, and nobody answered my question, and everybody was just arguing in the comments, and I just kind of let it be. We're gonna listen to Sophie Cunningham's comments right now. These are just some of her comments made, and let's just get right into the story.
On that same vein, in that story with ESPN, you talked about wanting to protect young girls who shouldn't have to go against biological men. Just can you expand your viewpoint on that?
I mean, I think I said what I said. I think it's kind of common sense. And I think I'll always believe in that. I think it's really important to protect children. And that's little girls who are also involved in that category. And so I stand on what I said, and I'll always believe that.
Yeah, do you see your advocacy on that, like, taking any form going forward?
You know, I don't know. I'm not a very political person, but I do have beliefs. I have morals, and I'll always stand on those and be true to who I am. And I think people are going to take it how they want to take it, but I've never even really said anything about that. And so when it comes just to protecting young girls in sport and women in sport, I feel very strongly about that. I think that's why you have Title IX. That's why you have some of the greats in women's sports. If Title IX and women's sports weren't protected, then you wouldn't hear about any type of women in sport. And so I think in the future, it's just really important to protect.
Do you think?
So, I'm not going to play the full video just because this is going to be a long one. She made those comments, and one of many comments, and a lot of people lost their minds, as expected. And everyone picked a side. Everyone picked a side about supporting her. Everyone picked a side about this. This is not new, all right? Like, this is not a new topic. This is not new at all. I feel like a couple years ago in the WNBA, this was a big controversial thing because it felt like every time there was an interview, people were being asked whether or not do they support or do they not. Because at the end of the day, if they supported it, then they were going to get put into the list of people that needed to be harassed. And then if they did, if they did support it, then there was people that were attacking them for supporting, all this other stuff. So, she ends up making these comments, and then she also made sure to specify that her comments came from a place of love. Her remarks quickly became an off-court story. But when you're trying to do something out of love, and it's not a place out of love when it's technically targeting a demographic that doesn't agree with your point. So it's like, yes, for young women and girls, your point could be made that yes, you are trying to protect, or you're trying to do this out of love. You're trying to protect young women and young girls. But at the end of the day, that's just not what is going to happen here. Oh my God. So that ended up happening. And then obviously, divide instantly started. You had many people come into her defense. I believe Stephen A. Smith agreed with her, which obviously one of the most formidable names when it comes to um, talking sports in general, these Louise. And yeah, so just one of the many people. Obviously, debate started going everywhere, national news, social media. It just spread like wildfire. And then it did not help that their game back, um, there were supporters of Sophie in Seattle, and we're going to show you the signs here in a minute. One sign that read, "Thank you, Sophie, for speaking up for girls." She is clearly a young fan. With her friend, they are both probably, I don't think I ever got an age, but probably teenagers. Don't know if they're like 16, 17. Who knows? I did not get that information. Probably should have, but they are clearly young fans at the end of the day. Um, and there was also somebody who was there that had a sign that said and read that there's no hate in these United States. Both of their signs, I'm going to show you both of them actually. This is something nobody's talking about, and mainly because it's not the main topic. Respect to both of these fans, because you have, she did bring a big sign, the big sign, huge sign, some people might say. But one thing that you noticed during the game, she kept this at her feet most of the time, which I think is very. The only time you really should have a sign up is when you're not in play. So I think that it's good that she kept her sign pretty much at her level. Same with this fan. Obviously not a crazy big sign, but a sign to prove her point, to make her point known. And I thought this was a very good idea to just put the sign like where you could always have it, whether you're holding it in your hands or holding it like on your like lap, I guess. Something that was very underrated that I thought that both fans very like really showed that how just how fan etiquette, I guess. Off topic, but that's whatever. Anyways, then obviously this spread into something completely different, because then the owner of the Seattle Storm had the sign removed, and then was very angrily these women were angrily approached. I can't speak for crap. Don't do these videos in one take, guys. I'm gonna stop doing this. Is the last video I think I'm doing one take. Went up to the fans, basically cursed them out. That is, there's an interview out on my YouTube. It's on a short, and honestly, I might tag one of those at the end of the video when you have two videos to click on. I might tag one of them. It's basically them being interviewed about the whole interaction. She said that they called her stupid, cursed at them, did all this stuff, and she only got a 5-game suspension. I think she should have gotten more. I think that proving your point by doing the thing that you think they are spreading is not good, right? Because if you feel like these people are spreading hate towards the things you believe in or towards your community, and this is just my thought, because obviously she is backing that Sophie Cunningham's her comments are not great. And listen, Sophie is a very controversial figure. We all know this. Like even in this interview, like the beginning, she just sounds very annoyed, irritated, and a lot of people don't like her already for those reasons. So this just amplifies everything. But if your whole point is that you feel like Sophie is attacking you and attacking the like things that you believe in, but then immediately doing that and attacking somebody who believes in what they believe and their truth and what they feel like is right, you're not even anywhere near as better or morally superior. You are just the person that is spreading hate the same way you feel someone else is doing to you or another community. That is what you're doing. Like, that's something I never understood about that whole thing. Like, and here's my thoughts on it. If you're gonna take one sign away, and this was the comment I made on TikTok, if you take one away, you take the other. If you leave one, you leave the other. If the other fan got to keep her sign, and their sign, I should say, sorry, their sign, then why did this fan sign get taken away? I think that you are trying to now silence somebody's voice and opinion, even though you feel like Cunningham's remarks are silencing your thoughts and opinions and your rights, right? Just that's how easy it is to flip and turn something. Very simple. I think that you should have left both signs. That's simple. That's my opinion and only opinion on the matter. I think that if you're going to let one fan keep their sign, you keep the other. Unless this fan was being overly obnoxious and having her sign in the air during play the entire time, 100%, but that's not what happened. And then going up to her, cursing at her, is another thing that I do not respect. And then obviously there was more things that happened. The Indiana Fever's next game, the head coach of the Lynx made her position very clear by wearing a Trans Kids Belong t-shirt. Later then said that she believes in inclusion. And my goodness, I did not think that was even possible, but that scared the hell out of me. Jesus. And hey, shout out for the subscription, Richard. If you watch this video, you'll know when you scare the hell out of me. Back to what I was saying, inclusion and describe protecting transgender kids as human rights issues. Despite their disagreement, Reeves and Cunningham met at midcourt before the game and later said they had a respectful conversation focused on education and dialogue. So that was basically the end of it. That only happened like yesterday, 2 days ago, so I will not be shocked how that all ends up getting played out. We all know that it's probably going to become a lot bigger of a deal. The more and more we get into it, more people will be voicing their opinions, and it's definitely going to be something to keep an eye out for. But she's been getting booed so far by portions of the crowd at both places, and obviously the story grew beyond basketball, and I feel like that is a constant theme. It's becoming a national conversation about transgender people and athletes that are participating in sports. And I feel like it's obviously a touchy subject. That's why I didn't even want to make this video at first, because I knew that it's going to be, people are going to pick and choose what they want. They're going to pick and choose things that I said in this, and they are going to say, oh, he supports these people and this thing. And then the people are going to take other things I said and say, oh, he supports this, that. And then I'm either going to be hated by one person or I'm going to be supported by another group, right? It's just constant. I truly believe that no matter what, the fan being, silent is my biggest problem. Because everybody has the right to say what they want to say, and she did nothing wrong. I feel like a lot of people act like things are so simple elsewhere, and I think they take granted for what we are allowed to do, as much because that I could say that I don't like a certain person in office. I'm allowed to say this. There's countries where people could try to say it, but then they are no longer on this earth. And I feel like we all take it a little bit for granted and don't realize it until we see stories about people being silenced for their opinions, and why when we see people silenced like this with their fan taking their sign away, it gets amplified. And I think, to kind of wrap a bow on this, I just believe both sides have an opinion. If you support Cunningham, good for you. Support Cunningham and support young women and athletes. If you support transgender people and transgender rights, especially in sports, then continue to do that and find ways to maybe either come to an agreement or find ways to find alternatives. And that is just all I can say on the matter. Both sides have the right to their opinions, have the right to what they believe in, and that's the end of it. I don't think anybody should ever have an argument about that. To come back to something I said early on in this video that is very true. This is why I truly believe the WNBA will never be as successful as other leagues, and I do believe this to be true. I think the PWHL, Women's Professional Hockey, that I think will be past the WNBA in about 5 years. They're in year 4 now. They're going into year 4 of their NHL season, and I think they're already doing a much better job at than the WNBA in any way, shape, or form. The way they promote their league, the way that they promote their cities, the way that they back their players, the way that they make everybody feel included, the way that not only make them feel included, but make them feel included and comfortable, that everyone could be comfortable watching the PWHL. Everybody could feel comfortable talking about certain things and watching the game. With the WNBA, it has been drama for ever since I've been watching. The Brittany Griner situation, the obviously getting paid to play, we got to get paid to play and all this stuff. And honestly, people could use that as an argument on why a lot of people have. The people that are on Sophie's side have used that as an advantage for people that, to try to pick the side of that, biological males should not be involved in it. Because they pick and choose from a couple of years ago, like when you look at when, big tennis stars play men and the men end up winning, even though I believe Serena Williams is by far the best women's tennis player of all time. You have situations where high school teams have beaten professional women's just with boys. And that helps their case a lot. And it's just been a consistent wrap up of always being in something other than basketball. Like, obviously the Brittany Griner situation, yeah. But the Brittany Griner situation got turned into a whole other thing because I think people were just not using common sense and just making it other things. Like this situation, using it not in a sports vein, but using it as like a bathroom thing and all this other stuff. It's like, well, like stick to the situation at hand because it's a whole different issue than what you guys are talking about. Even though I guess it really isn't. But then you had the you have to play, we need to get paid as much as the men controversy. That wasn't really a controversy. It was people not using their brains. It was that simple. About having the league revenue shares, same as the men, whatever the hell. And then obviously now with the Caitlin Clark, ever since Caitlin Clark has been in the league, it has just been a controversy. It feels like that everyone's like, oh, well, Caitlin should just leave and go play somewhere else because, if they're just going to keep attacking her, blah, blah, blah. The league is always in some sort of controversy and in some sort of disagreement and in some sort of argument, and they are just never worried about playing basketball. And that's sad. It is a very, very sad thing. And I hope one day that is not the case. But if the WNBA wants to survive and if the W really wants to push themselves to being great and to being professional and to being, a top women's league in the world, they are going to have to slow the hell down and they're going to have to keep it on football. And keep it on basketball and nothing else. God, I need to stop looking at other things when I'm trying to speak. That's all I gotta say. Last little bit here. No matter what happens. Also, thank you, Richard, for the description. No matter what your stance is here, I hope you all know that you can voice your opinions down below. I will try to moderate it as much as possible. Speak your opinions. If you argue with people, and if I find your comments to be distasteful and trying to give hate towards people, I will just destroy your comment. I will delete. So pick and choose. If you want to comment, do so. Do so very respectfully. To voice your opinions on the matter. And one thing I would really like to hear is: do you think the WNBA is better off not dealing with a lot of this drama? Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I respect all of your guys' decisions no matter what. And I will see you guys all in the next one.
You being edgy just fuels my fire. Let go my ego, elevating higher. Talking sports, raining supreme. Slaying every game like it's a dream. Never let go of this ego I hold. More than enough for me and my amigos gold. From the diamond to the ice rink, I run the show. All eyes on me.